So day 43 of Through the Bible in 1 year. In today's Bible study video, we're going to be covering Numbers chapter 3 and Numbers chapter 4. Okay. Now, I know in the previous video we covered some really insightful stuff in the scriptures, some mind-blowing stuff, literally, that literally should just change the whole outlook you have and the whole way you actually view and obviously take to actually reading the scriptures and actually studying the scriptures out. Okay. If you haven't watched the previous video covering Numbers chapter 1, Numbers chapter 2, I seriously urge you to go back and read it and watch it and obviously see the powerful insights we actually uncovered from reading through the first couple of chapters in the book of Numbers. In today's Bible study video, we're covering, like I said, Numbers chapter 3 and Numbers chapter 4. Okay, and we're going to actually see another really big thing covered in these chapters, which I think it's actually really interesting as well. Okay, it just shows you the precision, okay, in what God's actually doing. So let's just literally jump into today's Bible study video and obviously just hopefully grow as we continue through the scriptures. So Numbers chapter 3 and verse 1. These also are the generations of Aaron and Moses in the day the Lord spake with Moses in Mount Sinai. And these the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These the names, verse 3, of the sons of Aaron, the priests which were anointed, whom he consecrated to minister in the priest's office. Okay, so that's what we read about in the book of Exodus, Leviticus, etc. Okay, verse 4. And Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord. We read about that last book in Leviticus, when they offered strange fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. And Eleazar and Ithamar ministered in the priest's office in the sight of Aaron their father. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring the tribe of Levi near and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister unto him. So it's interesting. Let me just stop here to say this, okay? If you think about what we covered in the last two chapters, it was really mainly focused around the tribes that were not named Levi. I'll just put it like that, okay? And now we're getting into specificities of the Levite tribe, okay? Because in some senses, you could kind of say that the Levites were kind of left out. So in today's chapters, basically, we're kind of getting that insight as well from that perspective, okay, from the Levite perspective. Let's keep going. Verse 7, and they shall keep his charge and charge of the whole congregation before the tabernacle of the congregation to do the service of the tabernacle, and they shall keep all the instruments of the tabernacle of the congregation and the charge of the children of Israel to do the service of the tabernacle. And thou shalt give the Levites unto Aaron and to his sons, they wholly given unto him out of the children of Israel. So the Lord's basically setting apart the Levites and saying, these are basically my chosen people, chosen people within the chosen people, basically. Let me just put it like that. Okay, to do the service basically of the tabernacle of the congregation, etc. Okay. 10, and thou shalt appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall wait on their priest's office, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So it's specifically for the Levites, okay. 11, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, And I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of all the firstborn that openeth the matrix among the children of Israel. Instead of all the firstborn openeth the matrix among the children of Israel, therefore the Levites shall be mine. Okay, so the Lord's basically saying he's moved from the first male basically being the Lord's, basically, and now to the Levites being the Lord's. Okay, and this is where we get into something that's really key, that just is also mind-boggling in these first couple of chapters, the first pieces of text in the book of Numbers. Okay, 13, because all the firstborn mine, on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, so referring back to Exodus, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be, I the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Number the children of Levi after the house of their fathers, by their families, every male from a month old and upward, thou shalt number them. And Moses numbered them according to the word of the Lord as he was commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names: Gershon and Kohath and Merari. And these the names of the sons of Gershon by their families: Libnah and Shimei. And the sons of Kohath by their families: Amram and Izhar, Hebron and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their families, Mali and Mushi. These the families of the Levites according to the house of their fathers. Of Gershon, the family of the Libnites, and the family of the Shimites. These the families of the Gershonites. Those that were numbered of them according to the number of all the males from a month old and upward. Those that were numbered of them 7,500. Okay. The families of the Gershonites shall pitch behind the tabernacle westward. So notice, okay, think about the image I highlighted for you in the previous video, okay, where it had the camp on the west, the camp on the south, the camp on the east, sorry, which was Judah, the camp on the west, on the west, which was Ephraim, the camp on the south, which was Reuben, and the camp on the north, which was Dan. Okay, and in the midst of that camp was, in the whole of the camps was the Levites. So now within the midst of that camp, we've got the Gershonites basically on the east side, I believe. Was it the east side? Okay, westward. The Gershonites shall pitch west of the tabernacle. Okay, so sort of, yeah, basically next to Ephraim, basically to a certain degree, okay, or closer to Ephraim, I'll put it like that. Okay, 24. And the chief of the house of the father of the Gershonites, Eliasaph, the son of Lael, and the charge of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation, the tabernacle and the tent, the covering thereof, and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court and the curtain for the door of the court which by the tabernacle, and by the altar round about, and the cords of it for all the service thereof, and of Kohath, the family of the Amramites, and the family of the Izharites, and the family of the Hebronites, and the family of the Uzzielites. These the families of the Kohathites, in the number of all the males from a month old and upward, 8,600, keeping the charge of the sanctuary. The families of the sons of Kohath shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle southward. Okay, so we've got west, now we've got south. Okay. And the chief of the house of the father of the families of the Kohathites, Elizaphan, the son of Uzziel. And their charge the ark, and the table, and the candlestick, and the altars, and the vessels of the sanctuary wherewith they minister, and the hanging, and all the service thereof. And Eleazar the son of Aaron, the priest, chief over the chief of the Levites, the oversight of them that keep the charge of the sanctuary. Okay, so we've gone through two families, the Gershonites and the Kohathites, and it's interesting because the Lord's basically saying, okay, these people dwell here, these people dwell here, and basically these are the particular things I want them to basically be in control of and be in charge of, basically, in regards to the tabernacle of the congregation. Okay, let's get into the last family of Merari, the family of the Marlites and the family of the Mushites. These the families of Merari, and those that were numbered of them according to the number of all the males from a month old and upwards, 6,200. And the chief of the house of the father of the families of Merari, Zuriel, the son of Abihail, shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle northward. Okay, so we've got west, south, and north. Okay, excuse me. And the custody and charge of the sons of Merari, the boards of the tabernacle, and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and all the vessels thereof, and all that serveth thereto, and the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords. But those that encamp before the tabernacle toward the east, before the tabernacle of the congregation eastward, Moses and Aaron and his sons, keeping the charge of the sanctuary for the charge of the children of Israel. And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So again, just reaffirming that, look, this is for the Levites specifically. Okay, all that were numbered of the Levites, which Moses and Aaron numbered, and the commandment of the Lord throughout their families, all the males from a month old and upward, 20 and 2,000. Now keep that number in your mind. Okay, 22,000. Okay, all the numbers of the Levites from a month old. Okay, and the Lord said unto Moses, number all the firstborn of the males of the children of Israel from a month old and upward, and take the number of their names. And you might be thinking, well, the Lord just spent pretty much 2 chapters or a chapter basically covering 20 years and upward. Why would he now go back and cover from 1 month and upward? Okay, the firstborn 1 month and upward. Okay, let's see why. Okay, 41. And thou shalt take the Levites for me, I the Lord, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of all the firstlings among the cattle of the children of Israel. Okay. And 42, and Moses numbered as the Lord commanded him all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and all the firstborn males by the number of names from a month old and upward of those that were numbered of them were 22,213. So 22,273. Now, first and foremost, that already should blow your mind, that the Lord's saying, I want to replace all the firstborns, okay, that I sanctified and called for myself from Exodus. I want to replace those with the Levites, okay. That's the first thing. And for those both sets of pairs to be 22,000 already is a mind blow, okay. But for the gainsayers out there saying, well, what about the leftover? Is it 273? 273 people. Look at this, okay. 44. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of their cattle, and the Levites shall be mine, I the Lord. And for those that are to be redeemed of the 213, so the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, which are more than the Levites. Watch this. Thou shalt even take 5 shekels apiece by the pole. After the shekel of the sanctuary shalt thou take the shekel 20 gerahs, and thou shalt give the money wherewith the odd number of them is to be redeemed unto Aaron and to his sons. And Moses took the redemption money of them that were over and above them that were redeemed by the Levites. Of the firstborn of the children of Israel took he the money, 1,365 after the shekel of the sanctuary. Okay, so 1,365 shekels basically. And Moses gave the money of them that were redeemed unto Aaron and to his sons according to the word of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. So not only did the Lord replace all the firstborn males with the Levites, he also gave the Levites some money basically, because you think about it as well, it's actually really deep when you think about it. First, so pretty much it's 22,000 a piece, okay, so that number should really just shock you already into say, well, that isn't coincidence, okay, but there's a little bit left over, 273. Those were the people that were left over in order to give the Levites money. Why? Because, well, to start up money anyway, you could put it like that, because they were going to be focused on the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, okay, which I think is really, really key. So the Lord basically had a plan for them already, okay. It's like I said, these are just the things that just mind blow you. You start to realize more and more and more, you say, well, this isn't coincidence, okay, this is an artist, okay, crafting a masterpiece, okay, and we're in a blessed position where we can look over this work and say, okay, wow, this and this and this and this, because you can say to yourself, going back to the previous video, okay, did they actually know that as they traveled they were in the symbol of a cross, okay? Would they know that? Who knows, okay? These are the questions we will have, or not questions, these are the things we can think about until we get to heaven, when we get these answers, okay, which I think is really deep. Okay, so let's jump into the last chapter in today's Bible study video, Numbers chapter 4, and let's see what the Lord has for us in this chapter. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi after their families, by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even until 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation, the most holy things. And when the camp setteth forward, Aaron shall come and his sons, and they shall take down the covering veil and cover the ark of testimony with it, and shall put thereon the covering of badger skins, and shall spread over a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof. And upon the table of shewbread they shall spread a cloth of blue, and put thereon the dishes and the spoons and the bowls and covers to cover withal, and the continual bread shall be thereon. And they shall spread upon them a cloth of scarlet, and cover the same with a covering of badger skins, and shall put in the staves thereof. And they shall take a cloth of blue, and cover the candlestick of the light, and his lamps, and his tongs, and his snuff dishes, and all the oil vessels thereof wherewith they minister unto it. And they shall put it and all the vessels thereof within a covering of badger skins, and shall put upon a bar. And upon the golden altar they shall spread a cloth of blue, and cover it with a covering of badger skins, and shall put to the staves thereof. So the Lord's basically saying, when it's time to move, Aaron basically, etc., should come in and cover the most holy stuff, basically, and then obviously make it transportable, ready to go. Okay. 12. And they shall take all the instruments of ministry wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put in a cloth of blue, and cover them with a covering of badger skins, and shall put on a bar. And they shall take away the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple cloth thereon, and they shall put upon it all the vessels thereof, wherewith they minister about it, the censers, the flesh hooks, and the shovels, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar. And they shall spread upon it a covering of badger skins, and put to the staves of it. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary, and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is set forward, after that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear, but they shall not touch holy thing, lest they die. These the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation. Okay. And to the office of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, the oil for the light, and the sweet incense, and the daily meat offering, and the anointing oil, the oversight of all the tabernacle, and of all that therein, in the sanctuary, and in the vessels thereof. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Cut ye not off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but thus do unto them, that they may live and not die. When they approach unto the most holy things, Aaron and his son shall go in, and appoint them every one to his service and to his burden. But they shall not go in to see when the holy things are covered, lest they die. Okay. So the Lord is obviously telling them to do all of these different kind of things, but at the same time, he's still saying, he's giving them specific precautions in order so they obviously can do the work, but not obviously kill themselves and die in the process. Okay. Look what he says. 21. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take also the sum of the sons of Gershon throughout the houses of their fathers by their families. 23. From 30 years old and upward until 50 years old shalt thou number them, and all that entered in to perform the service to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This the service of the families of the Gershonites, to serve and for burdens. And they shall bear the curtains of the tabernacle, and the tabernacle of the congregation, his covering, and the covering of the badger skins that above upon it, and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court, and the hanging for the door of the gate of the court, which by the tabernacle and by the altar round about, and their cords, and all the instruments of their service, and all that is made for them, so shall they serve. At the appointment of Aaron and his sons shall be all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, in all their burdens, and in all their service, and ye shall appoint unto them in charge all their burdens. Okay, so the Lord's basically funneling everything back to Aaron and his sons and Moses basically to appoint these things out. Okay. 28. This the service of the families of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation, and their charge under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, thou shalt number them after their families by the house of their fathers. From 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, shalt thou number them, every one that entereth into the service to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. And this the charge of their burden, according to all their service in the tabernacle of the congregation, the boards of the tabernacle, and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and all the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords, and with all their instruments, and with all their service, and by name ye shall reckon the instruments of the charge of their burden. This the service of the families of the sons of Merari, according to all their service in the tabernacle of the congregation under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the priest. And Moses and Aaron and the chief of the congregation numbered the sons of the Kohathites, and after their families, and after the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, every one that entereth into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. And those that were numbered of them by their families were 2,750. Okay. These they that were numbered of the families of the Kohathites, all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, which Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. And those that were numbered of the sons of Gershon throughout their families and by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, every one that entereth into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them throughout their families by the house of their fathers, were 2,650. These they that were numbered of the families of the sons of Gershon, of all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, whom Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Lord. One of the things we could also typically like to overlook that I want to bring up again, time and time again, is that Everything the Lord is actually saying, the scriptures are testifying and saying that Moses and Aaron actually did as the Lord was commanded, okay, which is obviously something, just a testament, and something that should encourage us to continually do what the Lord instructs us. That's one thing. Also, what we can talk about is, look what it says next, okay. These those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, who Moses and Aaron numbered according to the word of the Lord by the hand of Moses. All those that were numbered of the Levites, who Moses and Aaron and the chief of Israel numbered after their families and after the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that came to do the service of the ministry and the service of the burden in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them were 8,504 scores, 8,580. Okay, according to the commandment of the Lord, they were numbered by the hand of Moses, everyone according to his service and according to his burden. That's what they numbered of him as the Lord commanded Moses. And that wraps up the scriptures for today's Bible study video. Okay, it's actually interesting because, like I mentioned, the first few chapters I typically deal with the other tribes that are not Levi, and then these two chapters pretty much cover the Levites, okay, and where they should camp, and then also what each basically family in the Levites should basically be accountable for in regards to the work of the ministry and where they should camp. So literally, I think it was interesting as well in this set of chapters that we covered in this set of texts we covered in today's study, how the Lord replaced the firstborn males with the Levites, and how it was literally to the number, but there was a little bit left over in order to provide some money to obviously give to the Levites as well, okay, for their day-to-day lifestyle, I guess, to just start them off, based on the fact that they would actually be doing work in their ministry, etc., which I think is just another testament to God's power and his foreknowledge. Okay, it's just showcasing his power still. Okay, so literally hit the subscribe button. Thanks for joining me on today's video, and look forward to new videos about the scriptures as we cover the whole text in 1 year. Thanks and take care.